have a cameraman here today, and he's being funny. Hi, this is Keisha James here on Bridging the Gap with our guest, Shauna Kersley.
Shauna Kearsley.
Kersley! I'm so bad at that.
It's okay. It's a little wonky.
It's all good. But we're here, and first of all, we're going to let Shauna tell us about herself.
Ooh, tell us about myself. There's, let's see, I guess we'll kind of start with where I am right now. So
Okay.
I'm Shauna Kearsley. I've been living here on the Eastern Shore for almost 20 years now.
Wow, me too. Me too. Well, it'll be 21 in October, but yeah, yay.
I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it here. It reminds me a little bit of Jamaica, really.
Really?
Like the Eastern Shore.
I've never been to Jamaica.
That rural quality reminds me of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jamaican, so
I
I
can
lived
feel
in
it.
I've lived in New York, so I've
Yeah.
had that New York, and after 9/11, I came here to the Eastern Shore, and I've never left, and I love it here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a slower pace, but I like it. It's like laid back.
It is, and I love the community, which
Mm-hmm.
a part of the work that I've done here is community development.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done quite a bit of that, of just connecting community and finding available resources, and really in the strategic planning of how can we help solve the big things.
Wow, and you're quite vocal. The first time I met you was at a county council meeting,
Oh,
I
God.
believe. So I was like, oh, okay, I like her.
At a county council meeting.
So, the main focus for you being here today is you have something to do with the Harriet Tubman Foundation, or how would you describe it?
Oh, that is okay. So, happy Black History Month.
Yes.
I'd like to say that to everyone.
Our first guest for Black History Month, and we're talking about Harriet Tubman. Isn't that
Tubman.
awesome? What?
So we had a wonderful opportunity to bring Harriet Tubman to Salisbury, Maryland. And a lot of folks, because everything happened so quickly. So in 23, the end of 23, we had Harriet Tubman, the Beacon of Hope, for 2.5 months here. And it was a gift. From the artist team. It was wild how it ended up in our hands.
Yeah.
And, so I think that there's just things of the universe or God, if you believe in God. And so I became the steward and the conductor of the Harriet Tubman Beacon of Hope statue.
Look at God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You know, and it was right there. I didn't get to see it personally. I'm so busy. But anyway, it was right at the county building, right?
It was in front of the government building.
Yeah.
And so, that was we all know that the original Beacon, Lady Beacon, is in Cambridge, Maryland. And so the one that we got is a traveling monument. So Lady Beacon is now traveling all over the country.
Wow.
And visiting all these places and inspiring folks with that. So I got a phone call, and the artist team wanted to thank me for something that I had done.
And what was that?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh my goodness, you just brought it up.
I know. And I want to talk to them a little bit more about it. And it's a bit of a long story. There are 2 Harriet Tubman statues that are traveling the country. Yes,
Yeah.
there are 2 of them. And one of them is called Journey to Freedom.
Okay.
And that is Harriet pulling her younger self to freedom.
Wow.
And that one came before the one that we now know, which is the Harriet Tubman Beacon of Hope. So I was being really not minding my business one night, and there was an issue that was arising, and CNN's involved, all kinds of stuff involved, and essentially it was coming out of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
And the Harriet Tubman statue was in Philadelphia, and there was a controversy because the author, the artist is a Caucasian man.
Wow.
Yeah, see,
I never figured that one out.
I told you I didn't want to talk about it because we could start a war.
But no, I like your transparency. honesty, because that's what it's all about. You know, we're not about hiding or sugarcoating
We're
anything
bridging the
here. So
gap.
yes, we are bridging the gap. So wow,
Yeah, so that is how I
I
actually
learned something new today.
This is how I met. I met the artist team because a lot of the folks in Philadelphia and of the African American side of the conversation felt that a white man, doing the Harriet thing. So that became a huge controversy. And maybe I had one or two things to say down the middle, like, we're going to take a beat now and we're not lynching white people here in Philadelphia today was the comment.
Yeah.
So that began a relationship.
But at least, God put that on his heart to do.
I know.
I mean, that's a good thing. I'm mixed, so black, white, and different.
You can, but
I like
folks,
the color green. Come on now.
When it comes to art and culture,
Yeah.
it just gets very, very deep.
Yeah.
We're talking about appropriations and, so that became quite a thing. So when they completed the Harriet Tubman that we see in Cambridge and this beacon was traveling, I got a phone call. And the phone call said, "We would like to gift you Harriet. Be the first." Well, that's not what I said. I was like, what am I going to do with a Harriet?
I'm going to put her on display
Like,
where
what am-
everybody
well,
can
you-
see her.
So at the time, and this kind of gives you a little bit of my background, at the time, I was the executive director for Vehicles for Change Delmarva.
Okay.
And our mission there is to train folks with a criminal background to become certified automotive technicians. And Sandy Angelo, the owner of Pohanka Automotive Group, she's a friend of mine. And so I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do with this? Because I knew it was such an important piece. It's Harriet Tubman. And I knew it's not something that I could make the decision on. I just didn't feel like that. I just didn't know what to do. So I went over to Pohanka. I called Sandy and I said, Sandy, I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. I need help. She's my SOS calls.
Yeah.
And so I went over there and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And she stepped up and we called Mayor Jack. It was Mayor Jack Heath at the time, and we called Mayor Jack, and we sort of talked it out, and then I had to go get her, and I brought her home.
Wow, you even went to go get her.
I had to go get her because we weren't ready. In a weird way, we weren't ready. So they sent her to Cape May, New Jersey, to this amazing gentleman, Mr. Mollick, who has a Harriet Tubman museum there. Mr. Mollick is absolutely incredible. And so they had her for the first 2.5 months. And then I went to pick her up and bring her to Salisbury. But a lot of folks were unaware that it was coming because it was a gift, right?
Yeah,
So there wasn't any big, I was a little nervous. Like, how, I don't, this is such a huge responsibility. So I went to San D'Angelo. We went to Mayor Jack, and so we were able to secure the space. And then we also had transportation costs. So Pohanka Commercial they helped with. We had to insure it. You saw her sitting on the curb.
Good job, Pohanka.
I know. But here's the other thing, though. So all of that was taken care of, and then it was like, wait a minute, we have to pay to get her here.
Oh my
Like,
all these things keep coming up.
So, and in a normal world, you would have planned for such an incredible piece of art.
Right.
However, this was like, it was so serendipitous. So I called Mike Dunn. Yes, I love you, Mike. I called Mike Dunn. He's the president of the Greater Salisbury Committee.
Okay.
And the membership, and he went to his membership, and they paid for the transportation for her to get here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so then it started to
But
become.
you see how things come together.
Yes.
So it was meant for her to be here.
It was meant for her to be here. And her work here isn't done yet.
No.
Her work here isn't done. There were so many incredible parts of that journey. What we had intended as we started rolling it together is we wanted to showcase art art as an economic development tool. So there were all these themes. We had a tea party with Harriet. That was really fun.
Okay.
Our poet laureate facilitated a poetry evening, which was also great. We did it at the City Hall building, where we had spoken word, and all the students and everyone came together, and they did their version of Harriet. And then we also had Warwick Community College. They started a Harriet Showcase of Art Excellence, which is now in its second year.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was just quite a lot of them. It was 2.5 months. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I don't want to sound stupid, but I believe there's a Harriet Tubman Museum in Cambridge. Is that still there, or because I've never been?
Cambridge is everything, Harriet.
Yeah. So
yeah.
did the statue make it there?
Well, so just to give you a little bit of a breakdown, so there is an original statue which is in Cambridge, and she is firmly in the ground. And I have to give a big shout out to the Alpha Genesis team who conceptualized that story of Harriet. So they're the owners, you would say, of that story of Harriet. And the Beacon of Hope, if you look at the statue, it is depicted, Harriet is depicted as a free woman. So it is a very different story. So I mentioned the Journey to Freedom statue before. That's a different story. But this beacon, it's the beacon of hope because Harriet is now free. So that's the story that we were telling. And in her hand, most people may have missed this. We didn't have a lot of time. In her hand is a generational key.
Wow.
So Harriet Tubman brought the generational key to Salisbury, Maryland. And our hope there and the story that we're telling is that we are accountable. And that was one of the themes that we had for Harriet. We had accountability being one of those themes, that on any level, I don't care who you are, rich, poor, broke, can't read, blind, sight, you're still accountable. And that accountability transcends, right? So Harriet brought the generational key to our community. And the call to action there is we're all of us to break this generational conversation. It's generational poverty. It comes in the form of education. It comes obviously in your economics and your finances, but it's in your mind.
Yeah.
It is in your mind. So I'm hoping that folks are able to hold that piece of it and take it back to their families and look at your words are a part of that generational key. How you're talking to your children is a part of that generational key.
Right.
So it's
because
everywhere.
What they learn from you, they'll teach to their kids.
We don't know anything else.
Yeah.
And we see folks and they have a certain mindset. And I'm generally just very compassionate and rigidly curious as to how they got to that mindset because it was passed on.
Right.
And to break that is really radical and difficult and lonely.
Yeah, I would say, because I can, just being a Christian, I can see, the world standards that were passed down to me because, I'm basically a first generation apostolic. So my mom would teach me, the worldly values because that's what she knew. And I'm like, that may not be accurate, but it was a good foundation. But, as I got older, I learned, the right way and things like that. So you're right about generational curses or generational whatever. It's definitely passed down.
So my question to you would be, how did you learn the right way? Because you see what you did there. You were on a generational path. She learned that from her parents, right? And somehow something came in and knocked it, and you made a choice.
Yeah, made that choice.
You became accountable for yourself. I don't know what that is, and for everyone it's different.
Well, basically Proverbs 31 woman, just basically from that point of view, she does a lot, she builds and does things, but her husband is still ahead. you know. So I'm realizing that in this walk, and you know, it's just in the world, especially. I was like, you asked me that, so I have to really pinpoint. I'm like, my mom probably won't watch this, but it's like you're raising your female girl in the world, and there's you know, the world is worldly. You know, they believe in sex before marriage. My mom just told me, come to me and I'll get you on the pill. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I now, as a mom to females, I'm like, no, wait till you're married, respect yourself, and all of that stuff. So something like that along those lines. I'm sorry.
You just break that generational chain,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
you are telling a different story. You're mentoring a different way. You're taking it out of the context of saying, you know what? Wild sex is not exactly the best look for anyone. I'm sorry, because I know the television tells you that.
It tells you, go
they
just
tell
do
you
it,
all of
you
that
know?
stuff, but you know, they don't tell you all of the
They don't
other
tell
stuff.
you the consequences behind it, you know?
And
I mean, and it's more than just, you know, STDs
and
or
getting
whatever
pregnant.
they say.
It's more than that.
It's more than that. It's like when you have sex with multiple people, you're picking up their spirits, and it's like, oh Lord. And you don't know that on a spiritual level.
No, you don't.
And it's crazy. And that's why if someone has a mental issue, you're dealing with, it's like something that you never dealt with before, but you laid down with this person and you're like, oh wow. And I'm trying to think of the word for it right now. I can't think of the name of it. And I teach this all the time as a singles director. I'm like, you know, you don't want to pick up. My husband is in this room. He just walked out. I know he knows the word.
He knows what you're talking.
But you just pick up things that you're not meant to pick up. Yeah. So it's very important to wait till marriage. But unfortunately, my mom, you know, she was raised in the world. She just said, hey, just come to me and I'll make sure you're protected. But like, you're not going to know, because then for me,
like,
I
we're
felt
not going to go to
bad.
our mom
No,
and just be
I'm
like,
not gonna
oh
go to,
yeah,
hey,
I'm
guess
getting,
what, Mom, I'm doing this.
I'm getting ready to throw down, Mom. I mean, yeah.
So it's just, that was just an example. Now, a lot of us were probably raised in that way. I don't know.
And I'll give your mom, you know, I am going to say with the utmost of kindness and love to your mom. That's most likely how she was taught, and the folks around her. And she, you know, she's like, I'm going to do the best I can in this situation, because she didn't want you to get the STD.
Yeah.
But that's how.
And didn't want me to get pregnant. But guess what? I got pregnant.
You
know,
listen.
just because, you know, you tell me to go ahead and get on the pill, no one could tell me that the doctor said, hey, you have pituitary adenoma, which is an enlarged pituitary. You can't take the pill. Therefore, what can you take? And it's like, oh, and by the way, if you don't take anything, don't have sex. Yeah. Why do you think I was already on the pill? Like, because obviously I was having sex. So it's like, you know, what's going to happen? I got pregnant, 17 years old. So I walked across the graduation. I walked across the stage 2 months pregnant. Yeah. So it's like you can do what you want, but that's your consequence. Yeah. You know?
Well, you know, generationally, and we talk about passing on that generational key. And, you know, culturally, I'm from a different culture, but I think a lot of these principles apply. I mean, you know, kids in Jamaica are having sex. They're told not to have sex.
Yeah.
You know, we're very strict, and we still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we still do that. Now, in my culture, and my mother had me at the age of 13 years old. Wow. Her mother had her.
Wow.
At the age, right. So, you know, and there are a lot of different things there at play, because a 12-year-old is not necessarily having sex with an adult,
yeah, something
right?
happened.
So there's a lot of things that are there. But it's
happens.
Interesting. There's a generational key that, you know, something is happening there that keeps unlocking within that within that. And so for Harriet Tubman, I mean, she was such an incredible woman. And I'm going to be straight up with you guys. When I got the statue, the first thing I said, oh my God, why me? I haven't even seen the movie.
She said, I hadn't even seen the movie.
And I walked over to Sandy and said, Sandy, you want a Harriet? And she was like, you're so crazy. What have you gotten into now? So, and I knew, and at that moment I knew, just the way everything was going, I knew that I was picked for this, to be the conductor of this. I didn't quite understand why. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. This thing is 13 feet. I mean, it's this big thing. It's heavy.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to get my community on board, which I think this community, there's an invisible division that goes on in Wicomico County. But when I say our community, I think of my community as Wicomico, Worcester, and Somerset, because those are the three areas that I play in mostly. So it was really quite a scary thing. And now I had to tell this story of one of the most important works that has ever been on this planet, Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Lady Tubman.
Yeah.
The woman was fierce.
Yeah. I mean, I saw parts of the movie and I said, I can't watch anymore. So
the movie doesn't do her justice. I don't think.
But I guess I probably should ask another question.
Oh yeah,
But I remember what that's called. It's called a soul tie.
Oh,
so you have to be careful when you have sex with everybody, because you're going to pick up a soul tie and you have to spiritually cut it. So, sorry about that.
We're going to have a whole show on that one. I like it.
So I'm going to skip a little bit because we have another interview to do. But what are some other projects you're involved in right now?
Oh, wow. So, I think one of the biggest things that I'm involved in, and so I have moved over, now I'm at the Pohanka Automotive Group, and I am in the commercial division. So we're doing commercial sales, we're doing vehicle sales and maintenance, and it's a really, really exciting program that is designed to work with you to help you to grow your business. And Sandy really threw it out there on that one.
Okay.
I think, every day you're getting calls, everybody wants you to be on a board and on this and on that, but one of the most important thing that I'm able to pull all of my giving and that side of me together is, and I'm so proud of this, Pohanka Pays It Forward.
That's awesome.
That, you have no idea how awesome that is.
So what's something like most recent that you're like, wow, Pohanka, I'm so glad you did that?
Well, oh golly, there's so much of it that most folks don't even know. And the more I know, I'm like, Sandy, why are we not talking about this all day long?
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that I want to say is in 2025, Pohanka broke $1 million giving in the community. And we got to give it up.
I'm starting to like Pohanka, my baby.
We have got
a whole lot more.
We have got to give it up, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's going to have, we have consumers and folks are going to have their ideas about business or whatever. But I'll tell you something. The heart of my owner is Pohanka Pays It Forward.
Wow.
It is all Sandy Angelo. And the fact that I'm able to, and she's the one who really facilitated on the Vehicles for Change as well. And I was at the helm there. There is so much that we do. And I know that we're running out of time, but I want to give a big shout out.
No, girl, talk.
I want to give, and this is just going to be like a few of the things that we're doing. I want to give a big shout out for our Road to Recovery, because I think that doesn't get enough. And I'm going to just blow you guys away. Yeah, I'm bragging right now, because this is one that we should be bragging about. Road to Recovery is where we take cancer patients to their appointments and their doctors.
That is awesome. I love
Pohanka
that.
takes 90% of these people on the Eastern Shore to the doctor. That's a huge number.
Wow.
90%
wow.
is what we're doing. And that is through the American Cancer Society. You guys can reach out to us, and that's how they book. And to our community strong members, we have a lot of retirees that are driving these vans and taking the people. I met a lady the other day, and she said that her husband drives for Pohanka, and I met her in a whole other business. I went to sell her a vehicle.
What?
She goes, and I'm telling her about, Road to Recovery. She's like, my husband drives for Road to Recovery, and she told me about Road to Recovery. So we're doing that. We do a lot of donations in workforce development. We have an academy. We have Vehicles for Change that we are supporting. We're doing education is a big thing. That we're over at the Junior Achievement. We've made a huge investment in the Junior Achievement.
Wow.
And then, of course, we have over 600 employees, and we have a lot of volunteers within the organization. So we can talk about the Pohanka money all day long, but I really want to talk about the Pohanka people that are out in the field, that are volunteering their time, and they ask nothing. They don't even want recognition.
Something totally set aside from car dealership.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my why for being at Pohanka.
Wow.
That is my why. And another data point that I think needs to be known, and it's a little bit higher now because this is an old number that I was using that, last year, we have donated to 781 plus nonprofits, families, churches. We're big on law enforcement. We're big on, we're very big on that. So that's a lot. Mm-hmm. Police officers, families, college tuitions, right? Sandy, and I joke about it, but it really is warming. I mean, she puts her hand in her pocket and go and do it. And a part of it is her way of doing business. We strive for excellence. Mm-hmm. We do. That's what we do. And we don't get it right all the time. I strive for excellence. Excellence, I look for opportunity for myself and for others, and civility is of the utmost. Mm-hmm. But we are going to step in, and we are going to support, and we are going to make that difference because that's just what she does. That's her why.
Wow.
And I love her for it. I mean, it's so crazy. I do, because I get
one
to
of the
do
questions was, why do people love you so much? You're pretty much the same way. I mean, you're doing this with Black History for Harriet Tubman, and you're doing Pohanka. These cancer patients, really?
So I think I'm a hope dealer.
Like
that's
that.
what we're going to go with.
I'm dealing hope.
I'm dealing hope. And I also have a podcast if you guys want to jump in. And The Daily Acorn.
Okay.
And so we're
And how would it get to the Daily?
You can just Google The Daily Acorn.
Okay.
We're on Podbean, Spotify, The Daily Acorn. And it's just daily motivation. And I am a hope dealer. Hope isn't about being Pollyanna or being nice. I'm not very nice. Right? Hope is about
you're very nice.
Hope, I tricked you. Hope is about dealing with the hard truths.
Yeah.
And our community right now and our country is in a space where we need strategic involvement around the hard truths, right? Like we can't, you have Bridging the Gap here. And I love this because really we're all the same of the same coin. We have just made a decision not to even look at it that way.
Right.
Being in a small rural community, however, I always encourage everyone to understand that the national news and the local news, we have two different things that are going on. I go to church with you. I bring you food. I do this. I will be there to mow your lawn our situation is a little bit different. So, I'm always saying, let's just bring it down a little bit and let's just talk. It's about building meaningful relationships, and we do that one conversation at a time.
Wow.
So as a hope dealer, we're going to talk about the hard truths.
Yeah.
We're going to solve some things, right? We are going to solve some things. And I go straight down that middle, so.
So I have one more question for you, and then we'll dismiss because hubby is on the other side. And he's like, that's my clock right there, hubby. So if you could go back and talk to your 19-year-old self, what would you tell Shauna? 19-year-old Shauna.
Wow, 19 was such an incredible year. I was graduating from college then. The one thing I would say is I would tell myself that most of the things that I think and feel are just stories that I am telling myself. I would tell myself not to tell myself stories, because what I find is a lot of times, most of what we think and we're talking about are stories that are in our head. And if we ever sit down and talk to that person, we're going to realize that they're like, no, I wasn't even thinking that.
No.
You know, someone ever comes to you and they say,
It didn't happen that way.
oh, Shauna Kirsten's really mad at me. And they're like, why are you mad at that person? I'm like, what are you talking? What? Am I supposed to be mad? Right? So I would tell myself that be careful of the stories that you tell yourself, and that I am accountable for all of it.
Indeed. What I've learned from that is people will say stuff and you will start to dislike someone off of someone else, what they said. And I'm like, I would meet the person. I'd be like, I really like you. And that happens quite a bit.
That's how you know. That's how you know that someone was talking not nice about you, because you don't understand. This goes on with me on a regular basis, where folks are like, oh my, and I have people who, last week I got an apology from someone who was asking me for, I thought they were my, we were in a good place. And they came and they apologized to me because they were apparently talking nonsense about me. And then they met me and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
It's weird how as grown folks, we still be acting like we're in high school.
Which is very silly. Like my prime objective always is going to be, how can I help you? And I am a brilliant strategic thinker, so I can, and I have resources, and I know where things are. So I'm really good at that. So when I say, how can I help you? I legitimately mean it. And when I'm putting things forward, I'm legitimately trying to help you. I don't want anything for you, know what I mean? Like,
my word.
So it's a very interesting world. I love our community, and I am never going to stop. Just, how can I help you?
Well, I'm so thankful we got to chat today, but I can't wait till Girl Chat when we can just be more extent in our conversation. But that's the end of this segment on Bridging the Gap. We'll see you soon.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.